I don't know if that's accurate or not anyway. All right, it's 5:30 on December 4th, 2023. Board of Water Commissioners are all present. And I am gonna run the roll call here. If I miss somebody's name, I'm sorry. Andy Cunningham, Superintendent. Wendy Lemieux, Clerk Treasurer. George Barrett, Chairman of the PRUCOM. Roy Marr, Operations Technician. Bernie Pigeon, Sewer Commissioner. Bob Scanlon, Sewer Commissioner. Jim Gibberti, Sewer Commissioner. Sandra Slavin, Sewer Commissioner. We have Noah from WCTV and Leah from Wareham Week. Did I miss anybody?
Me, John, and Wendy.
I said Board of Water Commissioners are all here. I ask if anybody at this time is I guess somebody is recording.
That's different, huh?
Yeah, and we got the minutes of 2 meetings to take a look at quickly, if you guys had a chance to read them.
I have.
They looked okay.
John, you accept?
Yep.
I make a motion that we accept the minutes of November 13th, 23 as written.
And
See mistakes.
That was November what?
That was 13th.
13th? Okay. Motion made by Rick, seconded by John for minutes as printed for November 13th. Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
300. Minutes of November 29th, I think it is.
I make a motion that the board accepts the minutes of November 29th, 23 as written.
Second.
Motion made by Rick, seconded by John for November 29th. Minutes to be accepted as printed. Any more discussion? All in favor? 300. You got the floor, Mr. Cunningham.
Okay, so as you can tell, there's a few other than the normal faces here tonight. Bernie, Mr. Pigeon, reached out to me to try to begin a discussion of potentially using the water usage for sewer billing in the future, once again. It's not a new subject. In fact, it's a pretty old subject. So we invited him here to start that conversation. I don't think we're gonna make any real determination tonight, but we can at least start the ball rolling in whatever direction that might end up rolling. In the packets that I handed out to the commissioners and Wendy and Roy, the first thing behind the agenda is just a staple of some of the articles from way back when, including a letter from Michael Martin in 2005 to the then town administrator, Mr. Hartman, which is how far this goes back, if not even further. So, not that you have to read all this right now, but you can take that home and you can see what, a lot of the same issues are still the same issues. Nothing much has changed. So, I don't know how you want to proceed per se. I'll let you have the floor, or...
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Excuse me, can you call our meeting together?
Okay.
No,
Excuse me.
go ahead.
Call a meeting of the Sewer Commission together. We have a quorum.
Time.
5:35, 5:34.
Thank you for reminding me, Sandy. I want to thank you very much for putting us on your agenda to explore this issue, and to play off what you mentioned with words. I just started out at once upon a time, long, long ago. Little seaside community decided to debate how to process all the poop coming through. That was back in '97. And apparently they had been discussing it prior to that even. That's as far as my records go.
I don't go back that far either.
But unusually enough, came through it, I think there's a newspaper article and they're trying to research some documentation, but back in 2015, prior to the
There are
selectmen
some articles
transferring
here.
from the selectmen being sewer commissioners, acting as sewer commission, and creating the commission itself, they voted to accept going to usage. And I think in the transition between the selectmen being the sewer commissioners and then going to a separate body, it got lost. And it was not pursued after that, other than that letter you had you referred to. And it outlined certain areas, how we could share some information, and the objective actually is to just confirm that we're going to be doing it, because that's what we've decided to do, but to ask for your cooperation in our research initially as to how viable it may be, if it's gonna be accepted for one by the users, and if it's gonna provide what we need is more funds without actually having to raise the rates considerably. But that's the initial part. However, I readily admit, you have an asset over here, which is the research you put in for accumulating the data for your usage. So readily admit that, and it's more a case of, we're hoping to gain your cooperation in our research to building on it, because we're gonna have to go out for an RFP to have someone do the studying for us. And hoping we can cooperate with each other, and then when the end result comes, the appropriate parties will enter into any contractual negotiations that are necessary for sharing the data. It has been mentioned that it's possible that even your data collection organization now has modules within their system that could easily take the information and the data, which would be manually operated. We would of course be responsible for all that prep work and the like. That would allow us to transition into the usage more easily or more quickly than if we had to dig all the data out by hand. So that's about what we're asking for this evening, is just your vote of cooperation in our research. And then when it goes to the next step, which would be to get a formal agreements, obviously we're not at that level, which would be negotiating that kind of a contract. But go ahead, Andy, you want to say?
I'm just gonna bring up some of the same old stuff that I think I remember from way back, almost 20 years ago when this last was discussed. I won't say I know for sure what the capability of Northern Data, the billing third party, can provide, or in what format, or what effort it would take to do such. I don't doubt they cannot do it, though. I believe they certainly could do it. In what format would you want to receive it? Whether it's a separate module that we would maybe have to purchase from Northern Data that we don't currently have in our platform right now. I don't know those answers, but the data is there. I mean, there's no doubt the data is there. What it would take to provide to you in a format that's usable, user-friendly to you, would have to be decided. So I would probably want to know how you would want to receive it more than anything first. If it would be in a simple Excel spreadsheet format or some other format, that would be question one, to go to Northern Data and say, can you provide this on this timely basis, this frequency, somewhere along the lines of this format.
And if I might interject a little, I think on that basis, Andy, I think you probably want to go to Northern Data first and see what they can provide currently before we start remassaging everything, and see whether or not what they provide is potentially viable for us, and we may have to adapt some of our stuff in order to receive it. Which would be
But we don't have anything.
I wanted
we would
to
have to
understand,
adapt
this
some of our
is very
stuff to receive
preliminary.
it, because we do have stuff.
Yeah, but it's
Yeah.
some of the major hurdles to
Right.
discuss. So, and we don't have to decide anything, we don't have
Correct.
to commit to anything, it's just, let's talk about what the buzz items are to maybe evaluate this.
Do you
whether
know
we
if
can trade.
Northern Data supports other towns for billing?
Honestly, I do not. I don't know if they do or if they
Because
don't.
you-
They do
I-
once it.
Do they do onset also?
Well, I was
Ask
thinking
John Foster.
John
That'd be
would
good
know
if they
what
did
that
once
company
a month.
also supports for
Oh, yeah.
other towns.
Yep.
No, I don't believe he will know what Northern Data
Oh,
supports.
I don't know, he might, because he thinks Northern Data is the greatest thing that ever hit the street.
Well,
Really?
Oh,
my,
You do know Onset Water uses Northern Data for their billing
They were,
purposes
unless
too?
they changed recently.
Yeah, I don't know that.
One of the big differences you have is billing cycles. You bill 10 months of the year, or is it 12?
We bill every month, but we
A
only,
different segment.
we
of
only
the
get
district.
usage readings twice a year for every,
domicile, right?
And that's not unusual.
We'd love to go to quarterly someday, but that's not the technology we have or the equipment we have currently.
Have you guys talked to any other towns that have
No, we
sewer and
haven't.
water
It is-
together?
No, it's very preliminary. I wanted you people, because you're one of the primes that would be ultimately involved, aware of what we're doing.
One of the things, Jay, that exists is that the majority of towns in the state of Massachusetts do water billing for sewerage.
Yeah,
But at the same time, as you know, the majority of the towns in Massachusetts, the water department is under the town.
Right.
It's not a separate entity.
yeah.
So what they do and what we
The
can do
data's
is,
theirs already.
yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
so that's a different animal.
Yeah.
There's about 3
We
towns.
understand that,
Yeah.
and that would be the goal, and that is more the commonality as well too.
And that's why I'm here. You're a separate entity versus I could go down the hall at town hall and say, hey, we're doing something.
Yeah, give me that. Yeah, I know.
What do we
I mean,
do
some
about
of-
the people that irrigate their lawns, and it goes through the sewer meter?
That,
They
we-
have an option.
there is an option.
They can
in
have a
that.
separate meter.
So there are some
It's a
issues
separate
that were
expense.
brought
Yes.
up in the past regarding redundant and reduction meters.
Yep.
We have
The
a.
water department wanted nothing to do with installing, maintaining, changing out, verifying accuracy, or even ever looking or touching at a reduction meter.
Don't blame you.
I would say under the
So-
circumstances, that would be completely inappropriate for us to expect you to do half of our work for us. Unless you wanted to undertake that issue, fair,
Well, we have enough issues just dealing
Yeah.
with our current meter and access and accuracy and everything else that falls onto the responsibilities of that meter. I don't want 2 of them when I
No.
don't even own the next one. I even have customers now, more commercial customers more than anyone else, who have reduction meters because they bill a tenant off of a portion of the water bill I send them on their reduction meter. I don't ever touch their reduction meter. I don't ever go look at it. I could care less if it works or not. That's how I would want this to
Oh, yeah.
work as
Obviously.
well.
yeah.
Obviously.
So, I wanna have no idea, nothing to do with trying to get a hold of Johnny, Be Good and say I'm coming there on Tuesday to install a reduction meter for your irrigation to take it off your sewer bill.
Well, this whole.
Well, let me ask you
it
something,
could be a
Andy.
profit
ahead.
center.
How many gallons in April do you pump out per day?
How many gallons do I pump out per day?
The average daily production?
Over the course of the year, which is an average, it's about 1.5 million gallons a day.
In June and July and August, what's your daily outage?
We can hit 3.
It's irrigation. So the people are paying for irrigation to go through their sewer.
Yeah,
Well,
It's not right.
it's irrigation, it's population too.
Yeah.
The population nearly
It's
doubles.
irrigation, it's a lot of irrigation, and it's a lot of watering cars, washing cars. all
Yeah,
that stuff.
I can't say I know exactly
And
what
that's
that
not going through
percentage
sewer.
is, but it's absolutely a part of it, absolutely.
but that would be an issue. Obviously, a number of citizens would be raising that issue.
It's going
And
on
we
in
have
other
to
towns
address
right
it
around here.
in terms of, it's water that we're not processing.
So how did you feel, hold on one second, Judge. How did you feel you were gonna try to address the desire of the customer to have a redundant reduction meter to take that non-sewer discharge water out of their bill?
I've seen it.
Were you gonna ask the owners to do it on their own?
If they
or-
have an irrigation process or system, they would have to verify it, and we would have to make an allowance for it. But it is a part of, as you were
You
referred
would put
to,
it on them to verify the amount of flow they're using?
it becomes, I believe it becomes down to a formula,
Okay.
and not, unless they want to put the meter in, these are issues that we'd have to resolve.
It's very simple to do. You can do it when it comes in Bad Place it does it. When the service comes into the house, they put a T, one side's for irrigation, outside watering, the other side's for the house.
But
Yeah,
that
if you
would be a
just
lot
keep
of
it physically separated,
Yeah,
but I don't wanna have to deal with the second
You're
meter.
not even gonna be here.
but that would be.
I don't want him to deal with the second meter. If we don't own it, there's all the liability of ever touching something you don't own inside the private entity.
The district taxpayers will not be happy with the water commissioners if we start charging them on this sewer bill for outside water And I'm here to represent the taxpayer of the Wareham Fire District.
Well, yeah, that's what we're here talking about,
You
John, so I
have to-
understand that.
You have to separate it.
You have to separate it,
Yeah.
but
You
who
have to do
maintains,
this.
owns, and replaces, and
You
verifies,
would
and
treat it
everything
like
else?
another service.
Yeah. That's all it would be.
Simple.
You would have two services coming in the house, two
It doesn't, it-
base
you don't-
rates, two,
And
One
you double
The
the
billing.
effort it takes to maintain, install, replace, verify, and everything else it
you
does.
would have
also
to-
double your
with the single
income
meter.
because you're getting a minimum charge twice a year from that separate meter.
Well, I'm not so sure about that.
It's another service. You can set the parameters you want to it.
Yeah, but do you think the customer's gonna accept, okay, I wanna put a second meter in to reduce my sewer bill, but the water department's gonna now charge me as if I'm a second house
But you're
in the same
charging them
basement?
already
That's a problem.
when you're supplying it
I
from
can't
those
see how
streets.
that,
Well,
When you're supplying
then-
it from those streets and they're diverting it to irrigation,
Yeah,
you're
you're already
charging them for
charging
the
them.
water already.
You're already paying
then,
for it.
then set up the parameters for an
Right,
irrigation
but-
meter.
But it's
one
a
account
process.
versus two accounts is not the same as all this water in one bill versus two accounts with the water split in two different bills. There's a minimum charge for no water at all, up to 2,000 cubic feet, the bill's the same. So if there's a separate meter, that's usually how we determine a separate account, there's minimum billing before they use a drop of water. If you try to set a second account on a redundant reduction meter, their bill has doubled before they even used a drop of water.
But that's, who sets the rates?
We do.
We set the rates, but
Exactly. The water commissioners can iron that out away from the sewer department, because that water usage doesn't get billed to the
Doesn't
sewer.
pertain to them.
it would say, it seems to me this is not brain surgery and we're trying to make it into it.
It's a hell of a lot better than
no, I'm just trying to come up
deducting
with
one
what
meter
the
from
plan
another
is, how
meter.
you're going
Because
to
it
do
If
it.
the water comes in here, and your meter is here, can it be wide here? That go through a reduction meter and the other just flow into the house, the normal usage. You get your total input of water. We wind up with a reading that needs to be deducted from that total reading of water that you give us, based on the reduction.
How are you getting that
Oh, we're so,
reduction
so-
reading?
we're so
Well, wait a minute,
soft,
excuse
we're
me a
so
moment.
far
That's
away.
Why are we
That's
even,
gonna have to
why are
be
we even
something that
bothering to
will-
put a meter in? Because I'm not gonna develop a whole new, staff to go around and read the meters. I'm just gonna say, you verify you have an irrigation system, I'll reduce your, costs for
By
processing.
some kind of calculation, not a
We're talking
meter.
about-
Yeah.
You don't wanna bring it up, you
I'm not gonna,
that?
So if you do that, that takes
Manila, you wanna talk about the change.
most of the argument of me not wanting to inherit additional equipment to maintain and labor
Correct.
effort to.
because it would cost us, because we'd have to retrofit every unit that's doing irrigation to put another meter on.
Yeah, you can't just say appear there.
No, we
So
have,
if your reduction formula was always gonna be just a calculated criteria of some sorts, then that's even easier for me to
That's not our
swallow
problem.
the
Oh,
entire
indeed, yeah.
entire effort.
we have,
Absolutely.
there's a
We're gonna get
report
the money from
that
the meter,
has
so
that,
that's,
yeah, there's a
well,
report that
that's what
has
we
all
want.
that information in it. Unfortunately, we can't find it. Tegan Bond did it for us about 5 or 6 years ago, and a lot of our information has gotten misplaced, unfortunately.
Or shredded.
I think that presentation was made right here, that time bond draft.
yeah.
Yeah.
Guy from down the Cape,
Yeah,
Yeah,
Percassin, I think.
you could probably reach out to Time Bond and they would be able to get their hands on any form or presentation or paper they did or anything.
just a matter if the contract says they own the paperwork or we own the paperwork.
Well,
But our intent is just to make you people aware, that's what we're going through, and yes, all those issues. I'm glad to share that information. It wasn't something that was immediately in front of
Yeah, no, our issues were always who's gonna deal with reduction meters if there were some? Who was gonna deal with complaints about the accuracy of readings on both our meter and any reduction meter on the sewer bill? So
Yeah,
we don't want our front office staff getting a call, why is my sewer bill X, Y, Z? We
Oh,
can't,
we
we
don't
can't
wanna
even
call
answer
sewer.
that.
We get the calls, I don't wanna why is the water bill so high?
Yeah, but at least we know how to answer those.
And we can,
I know.
you shift them
And you
over.
can't stop them all.
But those are issues we have to resolve as we go along,
So-
accept the consequences of them, of course. But from my point of view, there'd be no meter, would be a redundant meter. I'd have to staff them all over, and that would cost me more than it's worth than doing.
If that's the case, you're really just getting the data and using it how you see fit. And
It's primarily,
that's pretty simple. Seems pretty simple.
my career was electronics,
I agree.
computers. That's all just because it'll do so much doesn't mean it has to.
Okay.
I would like to talk to some local towns that have worked with Northern Data as to what is available, what is they get from Northern Data to help support their sewer charge based on usage. There's gotta be a software package out there that we could adapt easily. But now that I know that Northern Data is your data source, then we have to find out what they give, what they provide you to see if it can't be
If they're doing it for
compatible
anybody
to
else
another
already,
software
yeah.
package in another town.
Yeah, all the cities and towns in the state that do this, only 1% of them use EDUs.
I know that, but I'm talking
So I mean,
about,
that there's a market out there for
there is a
other
lot of
software.
there's a lot of towns or cities out there that use it. The question is, do they use Northern
Yeah.
Data's input? Because if that's the case, we know what they feed you, does it compatible with someone else's software that we can just say, okay, we don't have to do our own coding.
Oh, it's out there, I'm sure.
But we haven't researched it. This is the first I've heard of Northern Data. Do you think they might be willing to discuss with us what they feed you, or?
We could get your contact name and number to call to literally just start asking them questions
Yeah.
about, let them know what
What you get.
you're considering,
Mhm.
what they generate already for us, and how could that be used by yourself.
You do actual reading twice a year.
So we read all the time. We're reading 1/6
No,
of the
yeah,
entire
but
district.
My
every
home is
month.
read twice a year.
Yes, every
Yes.
account's read twice a year,
Mhm.
6 months apart.
And so a lot of homes are every 6 months
Yeah.
incrementally done. They're not all done at the same
Yeah, because
time.
we're still walking around doing
Yeah.
touch reads, so we literally walk to every house.
And that data is fed into Northern Data.
Yes, yes.
You don't do drive-bys yet?
No,
No.
that's another discussion if you want to have that discussion.
Yeah, that's right.
because-
That was opened up a number of years ago.
Yeah, I mean, we'd love to
Sometime
have
back.
somebody help pay for
I
that, so
remember that. We had
They
if
said
you
you
want to
can ask that.
entertain,
$1 million or better.
and actually, we don't even want to go to drive-by, I'd like to
Yeah,
just
that's
go
what-
straight
well,
to,
that's
straight to
last
cellular
time
where
we had
you
the conversation.
Everything
read the
electronic
entire
goes down
district
except
from
that.
right there.
Yeah.
One push
Buy a
of a button.
55-inch widescreen TV for $188 today, right?
Exactly.
First one I ever sold was $8,000.
I know.
But Radio Read 15 years ago was $2 million, and it's still $2 million. It does more today than it did 15 years ago,
That's true.
but the price has not really come down.
No, I didn't expect that it had. I just.
Fairhaven just did radio,
Yeah.
went into Radio
I don't know
Read.
how much Fairhaven just spent, but they put an RFP out and they ended up selecting a company based on a weighted criteria without knowing the price in their evaluation process. And they're like within 100 different 100 customers within the same number of us. We're 8,500, they're 8,600.
Did that include-
They had census meters, just like we have census meters. And they had a third-party outside vendor over the course of 2 years go and transition to the Badger Radio Read cellular program. All except for like about 100 stragglers because they had issues with getting inside houses. So they got about 100 more they still gotta get to. But they're almost done, except for those stragglers. And over the course of 2 years, they got transmitters and new meters installed in 85 out of 8,600 customers.
And that
How
was,
much it costs them, I don't know right now, but
I was just gonna say, was that under the RFP, or was that the RFP for the contract strictly to purchase the units? And then the installation was
I
separate?
haven't even seen an RFP or anything, I just
Just
heard,
curious.
heard
I
it kind
didn't know
of
if
a
you
little
looked at
bit in another meeting, but.
Not a big deal.
I don't know
Just-
details. But they're like as close of an example
Mhm.
as we would want to start looking at it. And I'd really like to just skip right over, drive by and go right to Cellular. But there is a permanent forever, probably growing cost with Cellular forever too, that you have to take into consideration, so.
How many days was the phones down last week?
Yeah.
What are the mechanics of the billing of the water department? From taking the reading at the meter, it gets fed to Northern Data?
No, it goes through the front office staff first. So the readers go out with what we call an interrogator,
Mm-hmm.
and they get a reading on every house. And then they go get the readings that the interrogator miss, one way or another.
And then from here
And
it
then
goes to
that's
Northern Data?
downloaded from the interrogator into Edifice, our billing software.
Okay,
And then that data is used by Northern Data to generate the bills.
okay.
More detail than that, you're
Yeah,
talking to
no,
the
that's
wrong
okay.
person, but.
My intent is not to impact your process at all, other than just have someone download it over to the appropriate firm that's doing our billing. And how we have arranged the billing so that there's certain credits within it, et cetera, and also downloaded the people involved, et cetera. Because we
Yeah,
can
I know.
encourage the data for what you service to match our own database. But that can be done by whoever wins the RFP. That's what the intent is.
Okay, your data is by street address,
Um,
then a meter number.
It has lots of different
Yeah.
attributes to it.
And ours is by street address,
Yes,
with
but
a lot
if
of different
We're gonna have,
attributes.
that's gonna
but
have
we
to
still
be
go over the
something
street
that has to be
address
done.
and to send a bill.
So
So
our,
it's treated as
our,
eventually.
every account has a unique 7-digit account number, which is the primary unique ID number for every account. It's actually a 12-digit number, I'm sorry, but
Have you folks spoke to Onset yet?
No, we haven't. You're the larger people involved, and I would have, considering your size and what you have to do and the functions, if you're not agreeable to it, just getting a little answer would not be worthwhile continuing.
I think the action item would be for maybe somebody to give me a name to send a name back to tomorrow that I'll get from the office manager for you to reach out to Northern Data to and ask them about who else they may be doing this same similar work for, that they bill water for already. Are they using that anywhere else for sewer billing as well? And what would Wareham Water need to do the same such thing? If we don't have it already in the package bundle we buy already. Maybe there isn't anything else to buy, and it's just, oh yeah, you just need to do this.
So
X,
they
Y, Z.
could tell us the towns they service, and we can contact the towns they service for a software from a sewer side of the
Yeah.
process.
I mean, I think of it as just give me an Excel spreadsheet and you can manipulate that in any
Mhm.
given way you want to reference some other, however you bill now, I don't know.
I think Marion bills through the meter, I don't know
They
who does
do.
it for 'em.
Oh, yeah, and the people in Marion are too happy.
Well,
Their
you
bills are
know,
like
our rates, our
11.
rates, Marion seems high, but when you figure it out, ours are higher.
They get their irrigations going on their sewer bill. And they're
John,
not
John
happy.
makes a really strong point though. So
I'm a
if
plumber,
you're
I do
not
these-
going to put a
I know what's going
redundant
on.
reduction meter in,
Yep.
how are you gonna come up with the formula that's acceptable for all the different types of entities out there?
Same way they
Well, there's
invented
a
the
plethora of
EDU.
them, indeed. And that's one of the issues that we have to resolve, of how we
How
want to
much money
handle
do we
that
need?
with our own particular base. And
Like doing
I'm
the
sure
taxes, how much money do you
Wareham
want
doesn't
back?
have half as
Start
many
paying more.
irrigation as Marion does.
There's a lot around here. There's a lot.
Somewhere that exists, but I think it went through the
Would you
networks, 'cause
differentiate
they used
between
to
commercial
bill
and residential as well?
a base rate, It's a
possibly.
residential and commercial.
Marion?
Commercial,
Garden.
wait,
It depends on what they're using
Commercial
Pool.
played
in the
Water,
residential.
yeah.
because
Oh,
we
for-
have,
for
with
sewer?
the meter for sewer.
almost 8%
On top
are
of the ratio.
commercial and about 1.7 are industrial.
If we don't sell the same amount of water, people stop irrigating, our rates will have to go up to cover the cost of the district.
Indeed, you have to have that revenue coming in.
So doing what Andy's saying, to just give you our readings, our rate's gonna go up, because people are gonna stop using, they're gonna drive wells, and they're gonna get away from it.
There's no way in
See,
God's
we've got
green
that-
earth that's gonna happen.
It does
It
happen.
sounds good,
It does
but I
happen.
don't think you're gonna see any kind of an impact that would
All
do
right.
anything
I mean,
there.
there are some people
Well,
that shut off their irrigation systems now because of the cost, so.
Did you notice a big change when we went to only you can water so many days a week versus watering every day for irrigation?
They go every other day.
I know, but was there a big change in your usage?
Andy'd have to look back through it.
So during 2 years ago, when we had a lot of drought declarations, more so we didn't have much last year. The usage truly really was not affected by that much, even though we were in drought conditions, and the level of that drought did drop and go up and down a couple of times over the course of that year. I really just did not see a lot of effect on the typical usage. It
Amazing.
seems like the people who want to irrigate, they just still are going to irrigate.
They want that green lawn.
Yeah,
Mm.
the ones who
And all that
don't
nitrogen
can afford.
fertilizer?
That's it.
What are you gonna do where right now a 4-unit building will get 4 EDUs, but they may only have 1 water service?
There's a lot of stuff to be clarified. There is a,
You don't have to bring up things like that, George.
I just thought I'd give you
How
something
do
to
you,
think about this
how many times can you split a hair?
Oh, that's significant.
you know, and it goes,
It is, we know there's a plethora of issues out there, and we have to address them if we intend to go any further with this process.
Yeah, any account that's more than one EDU currently is,
and someone who
To
has
be-
a well who's flushing down to a sewer, that's another issue, because we don't have water income. We don't have water data when they use their own well, but dump into us. I mean, there's just, George, it goes on.
There's gotta be
It
only
makes
a
more
handful of
sense
people,
than how
right?
many garage
Right.
doors they have.
There's gonna be, what, a handful of people that don't have water that have sewage?
I would, considering it's so readily available, I mean, you don't have to go down very deep to get water.
No, but I'm just saying, I just,
You're right,
There's a-
there's
Yeah.
very few that don't have
water.
sewer.
municipal water,
that
but
that
are
have
on
sewer.
sewer.
I mean, when sewer goes by their place, they're hooked into it. There's the
Oh, they don't have a
exception.
choice.
Well,
No, but
yes, they do, and they don't. Okay, it's one of those, it's a definite maybe.
Okay,
They're supposed to hook up,
I thought it was
and if-
mandatory for,
Before you go by,
it's supposed to hook up if it goes by.
is
You've got
mandatory.
a
within 5 years.
a
If they have
five-year
a
window if you've
Title
just
V.
done a
Title
Title
V,
V.
yeah.
if no
Okay.
Title V
However, comma,
immediately.
There's a little gap in that whole thing, as with so many other things around here. Where's the enforcement?
Hmm.
And how do you enforce it?
Right now, we have
Legal.
79 dwellings
See, that's
That
all,
have a
which is
tie.
only a few.
but haven't hooked up to sewer. All the way from Rose Point
Point,
down to the latest one at Oakdale.
How about all the way from Indian Neck Road?
But you're not building those 79 whatsoever.
No, they're not
Yeah.
being billed an EDU, but they did have to pay
They
the
paid the betterment.
betterment fee.
Yeah, yeah.
But it's one of those things, here's,
I got them on that
we
side.
can't get them to hook up to sewer. But it's one of, we know we have this list and we're trying to work on it. So it's, I'm sure there are just as many, there are homes that use a well that haven't hooked up to you. I know we have a lot of those conditions out in Shangri-La, but I know they're not on sewer, but it's,
And we have some customers who use municipal water for everything but their irrigation or outside garden hoses
Yep.
because they kept an old well
Yep.
and
For
they're
that
two
purpose.
physically disconnected
That's
sources,
yeah,
so,
well, there's nothing wrong with that.
okay.
which is fine with us too, yeah.
Should we let them go on with their meeting?
Yes, and
So we've
they're
introduced.
bringing up an awful lot of
we've-
problems here,
We've
so.
introduced ourselves.
So why don't I try to get you a contact in Northern Data for
I
you to
appreciate
reach
that,
out
yeah,
at,
yeah.
reach out to. And I think maybe that's it. That's where you should start.
Indeed. Thank you very much, appreciate that.
Okay.
And thank you very much for your time this evening.
Thank you.
More than welcome.
I make a motion to close the sewer commissioners meeting at
Second.
All those in favor
6:05.
say aye. Opposed? Non-debatable.
Thank you.
Can we go, Joe?
Yes.
You want to help us buy cellular meters?
Well, it'd be a
Well, if you buy us a new plant, maybe.
No, we just bought one of those already.
We
so,
do have a few leaks we got there.
That plan's doing good.
yeah.
Yeah, get a new
No
plant,
complaints
get down
about
to Little Harbor as fast as you can. He wants it that way, let him have it.
See ya.
So good news about your new sewer superintendent. Good news about your new,
He is
is it water
outstanding.
superintendent?
As a matter of fact, today, we have one unit, we've got 3 blowers for drying the stuff out. And we had to rent a blower because of the 3 were down. And that was $17,000 a month. He sent me a video today.
Gentlemen, thanks.
He got the two
Take care,
blowers
Jim.
going.
You didn't say that?
Nice meeting you guys.
Outstanding.
Say what?
Did you look at me and say that?
He gets down the
Another one
hole
in the room?
with the guys,
Yeah.
and they love that.
Thank you.
Nice.
He works right alongside them,
So he's getting their respect for it.
and he listens to them. They work together. He's they're back there where the lab is and the like, and they have their locker room there and all. He's gone through that place. They've cleaned it out. They're painting it. He's got trucks down there. They're getting tools out. Nothing worse. I have to sign the warrants, and I get these slips from Amazon Hardware. They went down there to buy 2 bolts. They never had stock. They weren't allowed to keep stock. I said, oh, and that's 2 guys that go down to get the bolts also.
Oh, yeah. We go to all for everything.
You gotta go back and measure those things. Thank you very much again.
Okay, take care.
Let's put some cheers in here.
We still on TV?
You guys, it is still rolling. I'm getting like mixed signals whether or not I really need to be here if they close their meeting, but I'm just gonna record the rest of you guys for documentation purposes. If we don't need this part, it'll get cut out anyway, so.
We don't need it.
Oh, I know you guys don't need it.
We can, if you want a commitment that the conversation about sewer is now done for the night, we can give you that on video if you want. It's up to you. It makes no difference.
You guys can just continue.
We're just gonna finish our meeting
Yeah.
like we normally would.
Okay.
While we're right here, before we go any further, I did not expand on all the conversation. I wrote down discussion with sewer commissioners to possibly use the water data from the district to utilize future sewer billing. Anything more to be added to that? Preliminary discussion.
Yeah, that's all. I mean, if they truly plan on coming up with a formula or calculation or some other means of addressing what normally would have been a metered reduction amount, it won't be nothing to us. We'll just have Northern Data share some data. But I don't want to have to go
We also got the
manage
cost
and-
of all the new meters and the whole new system coming in here also. It's 50/50, needs to be 50/50. Stop giving stuff
Do
away.
they have a such thing as a sewer meter reader?
No.
No, there isn't.
Keeps clogging up.
They'll probably have it on their bill that way. They do that.
No, they get
They won't
smeared.
touch them.
Fine, okay.
No. Yeah, I think the only way you could do it is if you had an ejector pump. You could probably put a meter on an ejector pump, but it's not all that way.
I think they actually do have a way to meter stuff within the plant, but I don't think.
Yeah, at the plant.
Yeah, there's
Yeah.
meters at the plant, but that's got nothing to do with billing the customer.
I don't know.
That's just
To have that for
operational control.
residential use, you'd have to.
Yeah, no, there's no sewer meters
Then-
installed.
I'm sure,
That would be an easy
there's other
solution.
other towns that
So the
need
re-
to be. Ours isn't any
But
different
now
than
you,
the
now
other
you're on the
systems, so we
volunteer.
should be able to
That's like us
find
saying,
something on the shelf.
send us what your water meter reader is reading, and we'll
talking
believe
about-
whatever number you
They're
give
talking
us.
about a sewer meter, they said it can't be done.
Anyway,
Anyways. Okay, you ready?
yeah? Ready, Freddie?
All right, no abatements. I got one purchase order here. That was a last minute, sorry, it was after the agenda was placed on the board and everywhere else. This is a request from Greg Barrett. And this is to buy software, a new software computer and laptop, and the software program to do diagnostics of both the fire equipment, the new Caterpillar equipment, which includes our backhoe, the new larger dump truck, the older dump truck, and some of the more newer Chevy vehicles that we have. It will not provide anything for the old JCB, but that's pretty much it. If we get this within the next 2 weeks, by December 15th, we have about a 19, about $2,000 off discount that is only available through the 15th of December.
Is this being split with the Prudential Committee?
So it was meant to be split with the fire department. The fire department does not have any funding available currently to help purchase this at this time. Hold on. I
just
suggested that I take the brunt, in fact, all of this right now, that I have funding available in the vehicle maintenance line item. And as you see on the motion, there's a note there that in the following year, the annual subscription of $2,200 shall be paid in full by the fire department budget, having none hit the water department for the following year. And then the year after that, we would go back to evenly splitting that annual fee.
What's he using up?
Because if you don't buy it now, this $6,500 turns into $8,400. So you got $2,000 savings if you just accept that.
And what does this thing do?
It's your electronic diagnostic tool, plug in to see what all the error codes are on everything, including our Caterpillar backhoe, the International dump truck, the newer, smaller Chevy dump truck, all the other Chevy trucks, and all the fire equipment. Pretty much everything but the JCB backhoe.
This also include the new truck we just bought the other night?
The trucks we're gonna buy?
Truck that we voted on the other night. Fire truck.
It's not a Pierce,
Oh, yes.
it's not like a regular Pierce or stuff, it's.
Yeah, as far as I know it will.
I did see part of the demonstration of it.
Yeah. George was here
Very
and
impressive.
with Greg this morning and saw the demonstration of this, so.
Yeah, I would hope so for $6,500.
And that doesn't come out, it doesn't come out of Greg's
It doesn't get
budget.
into proprietary stuff,
No,
Why?
It's a tool.
but
It's
it
it'll,
never
mechanical
has.
tool.
It never has.
it'll go around it, you know,
So
like
it's being
a lot of
used for the fire
lot of
and
the
water
software
equipment.
that's in the
I'm just telling you
trucks
what has happened in the past.
is
So
It's
it's
being
all those
used by the
tools
fire
designed by
and
the
water.
Does
manufacturer.
he buy his own wrenches?
To be read only by the manufacturer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know what Greg has in his own separate budget.
Again, I just wonder why it doesn't come out of his budget.
The fire chief controls the mechanics budget.
Okay.
I think it's safe to say if it came out of Greg's budget, we'd be splitting it with you.
That's all right.
Well, if that was Greg's budget.
We split it
Johnny Kelly says he has no money
in the mechanics
available.
budget.
Yeah, I know he's
now.
out of me. Something.
Do you know that as a fact?
They have
We've
had some
that
big
discussion.
hits on some of the equipment, some expensive repairs that were out of warranty.
So because John doesn't have any money in his budget right now, I'm offering to cover this out of the fund that I have $19,000 plus still in a line item for this type of stuff. with pretty much 6 more months ago.
Okay, so,
And Greg would know, Greg understands that's gonna take a chunk out of the next 7-month budget for us, and he's gonna have to be careful not to overrun that line item. But you save $2,000, and Johnny Kelly eats the whole 2,200 next year.
Have you had a conversation with him about that?
Greg Barrett has.
so we spend
Almost
65.
$7,000.
And then the fire department spends 2.
That don't add up.
That don't add up to equal.
I know it doesn't add up, but
And the
it's
year
still
after
all
that,
the
they
same
pay
damn
too.
Oh,
districts.
that he didn't go in and say the year after that.
No, he said the year after that, we're gonna split it.
Year after that, we'll go back to it, the even split.
You ain't
that
gonna
would've
be
been.
here, so we'll do what we wanna do.
So
I'm
the
still here.
typical functions of a lot of these costs are an even 50-50 split between water and fire. Which is what we've been doing
Yeah,
for
but
the past 2 years.
let's be
because-
honest here, the majority of this is gonna be used on fire vehicles and not on our vehicles,
I don't know.
I would say.
With every passing year, it'll be needed on more of your vehicles. It is quite a system.
And is it one of these things where every year they get an upgrade for
Yep.
another $4,000?
That's what the service contract, that's what the $2,000.
That's what the 2,200 is every year going forward.
If you wanna give them 3,400, they'll give you tech support online, but some crazy amount.
On hold for an hour, till somebody picks up the phone.
I mean, in the end, it's all district funds paying for district assets and tools to be used by district employees. Yes, they're separate budgets, but if one separate district budget can accommodate it better than another district budget this one time,
And it will get your equipment back on the street faster.
Well, if it's gonna get it on the street faster, I guess we gotta go for it.
would make me drive faster. Well, that's a good thing.
I mean, it immediately shows you all kinds of information.
So will this one program and equipment suffice for all fire apparatus that he needs a diagnostic tool for?
It won't, the apparatus computers that are proprietary, it will not read those.
So he's still
But it'll
having to
read
buy
you the
some of those.
chassis and engine chassis and the other stuff you can sometimes get through from another direction, the
Are we-
proprietary stuff.
Do you think it would work when we get our new Prius?
I'm sure.
When Drew Reed comes back,
It'll end up looking like the old one.
oh dear.
Oh, I don't know, I guess
I don't know what's he spend on that kind of stuff now? There's an annual expense to the,
Your son?
yeah,
I don't know.
I don't
you
know.
don't see his budget.
Hmm?
We don't see his budget.
Once a year.
But there was some arrangement with the scanner or something that was,
So
Well,
he
we've purchased
was
some
already
stuff.
looking at buying something else that he planned on
did
splitting,
he
but
own
now he
it,
can't
but you
get
guys
that.
paid for the upgrade, or is that how that worked?
There was some annual upgrade costs we were always splitting with fire.
Yeah,
How much, I don't remember.
and
how
I don't
much.
know if that goes away or not.
But it just came out of the vehicle maintenance budget.
I missed the part, I don't know.
He
if
should have
that
been the one coming here to discuss this, not you and I, but he dumped this on my lap at 3 o'clock this afternoon, so.
So I'm gonna ask him to come in the next meeting.
It'd be too
Oh, we
late.
probably have a time frame on
The
this.
next meeting is
Yeah.
too late.
$2,000.
Yeah,
Look at all the money we'll save.
this offer is only good
It's
for the
always the 11th
15th.
hour. It's always the 11th hour.
So, would it be anything other than the district if it wasn't?
Oh, well, if it's gonna save time and get stuff back on.
Well, I mean, my real thought is if he cannot function doing the mechanical job that he does without this,
How's he doing now?
We're gonna have to outsource.
How's he done in the last 10 years?
If he runs into something now, like with your international, with the cat, he has to call them and buy a license, and they'll release the information. Which takes time.
So what you're saying then is this is not, will not be applicable to the new Caterpillar?
No.
No, it
It
is.
is.
He
It is.
If we
directly
don't-
said
if we
I think
don't
they went
have
in there-
this-
I think they went in and plugged it into it.
If we don't have this, then
Yeah, no,
we
you
have
can
to.
even see.
Anything that's
Even in the
protected
quote
by
here, Jay.
license is, he can't get in there without,
You see, there's two different Caterpillar, 9-pin cable, 14-pin cable. I assume those are specifically for the Cat only.
What's our generators gonna be? At the well fields.
do they come with the OBD one?
What's our generators gonna cost?
No, what are they gonna be?
We have no idea
For
till
an
we go
engine.
to bid.
Don't know yet.
No idea. We don't know what the equipment's gonna be. That's one of the two next phases, procurement and purchasing.
Oh, that's the other.
I would
question
assume we're
is-
gonna get a warranty with a warranty and maybe a service contract for
10
them.
minutes, 10 steps, whatever comes first.
Those are,
Program.
those are all gonna be LP, right?
They're gonna be propane, yeah. What brand, I can't say. Come on, Greg told me you were gonna sell this for me tonight.
Well, I didn't stay for the whole presentation. It's an impressive unit.
I didn't see it at all, so.
Yeah. It doesn't just give you an error code, it tells you where to look and what color it is.
Well, that can be handy in this day and age, that's for sure.
Yeah, I mean, that is the way things are going. It's not like you just open up a paper manual to look
Yeah,
at things
I'm
anymore.
all for buying the, I don't have a problem.
No. It was just good. It was like, you know,
Something
if I couldn't come up with the means of doing such right away, it wasn't
wasn't
gonna
gonna
get
happen.
purchased. And then then he's still gonna want it, and you're gonna end up paying $2,000 more.
Well, it's better than a $20,000 lawnmower.
That's,
50.
it wasn't 20, it was only
It
12.
was. No, you
No,
had it
you
in
came
there
down
for
to
20.
12. It was like 26 or something.
I saw
when
one
you
that was
started.
17, and I said, well, I'll just put 20 to cover it, no
That's
matter
what
what it is.
That's what I paid for my house.
It's down to 6 now, but I still don't even have another quote yet. I'm supposed to get.
6 at commercial? Great.
I don't even have a quote. That's just another plug and play.
Well,
for the
right.
moment.
We're beating this horse. so
Yeah, it's been
I'm gonna-
beat.
I'm gonna go and make a motion that the board accepts the water superintendent's recommendation and awards to
Noragon.
Noragon, vehicle data experts and supply GPRO
J-Pro.
J-Pro. Does he call it J-Pro?
Yeah.
J-Pro professional
I got a typo
with
there.
fault guidance and next step repair diagnostic toolbox in the not to exceed sum of $6,547.33.
Sounds fancy, huh?
John, you want to second this? You want me to? I'll second it.
No, I said it.
For 65, 7, 47, 65, 47, 33. Motion on the floor to accept the J-Pro fault guidance repair toolbox, $6,547.33. Seconded by me. Any more discussion? All in favor? 3-0.
Okay.
Okay?
They need to win against the Patriots.
What are you throwing out there?
I think a safety.
Here is
one-
a motion to sign, as well as the purchase order.
Oh, yeah.
It's like watching paint.
There's the official,
Jay needs to
there's the
sign
official
both
copy.
sheets. I'll sign one and pass it on.
Oh, Wendy's gonna move it. What are you missing? The action, yeah.
You guys get to control the electronic sign and the scanner.
sides and the back.
Because the day that was gonna come up for a subject, the person that brought it up of our board didn't come to the meeting.
Yeah.
Motion to adjourn? Oh, no, we got
Second.
more.
You got a motion, with that?
Yeah.
Yep.
You do, okay. Okay, so let's hold off on the budget for last, and let's go over just the monthly financial statements if available, and they are available. Got them last minute Friday. So first on the packet is another month's worth of age trial balance, just a good comparison. And it actually looks like we have more cash flow better than last year. So again, these most last 2 months compared to the previous same months in the last fiscal year, there is no greater amount than this year compared to last year. So just, basically the less yellow you see as I go forward, the more better our cash flow and bills getting paid in a timely manner are. Nothing more than a comparison from one year to the previous year. And then I gave you the regular through the end of November financial statements, revenue statement, expense statement, and then the bigger 11 by 17 your budget and expenditures to date. So again, we're playing catch up where we spent 46% of the budget over the course of only a 42% period of time. But again, that number's getting closer and closer to each other, and then we'll end up spending less of the budget as we move forward in the year. Obviously, still looking forward with a positive number for forecast revenue at the end of the year.
Down there on the betterments.
A lot of paper shuffling going on.
Yeah. Okay, the only other item of tonight is, unless you got any questions about anything, is looking at our budget again. I got nothing to update as far as articles go. Excuse me.
We're all set for the next
Where's she
meeting.
going?
She had a phone call.
Oh, okay. So, I'm hoping to finalize this budget tonight if possible, at all possible, so I can actually have you vote on it tonight as the water commissioners and then present it to the PRUCOM at the joint meeting on the 18th to possibly have them vote on it too.
How do you stand on vetted projects? I know we're getting toward the end of some vetted projects and we might have to supplement them.
So Wendy can speak on that better than I can. She does expect to have a need of water surplus transfer to cover betterment that she does not have betterment receipts for.
So if we do it that way, it's a warrant article, it won't affect your budgets.
George is asking about your betterment debt shortfall.
Not her,
It's the Martin
I
shortfall.
just wanted to see, I got what we're handling it.
So we have we do a transfer, and then it's all included in the motion for the budget. So we cover the exact amount that's necessary.
Any idea what that amount is gonna be? Not yet?
Not yet, because the betterments are billed on the actual bills, so those come in February and May, so it'll be whatever we collect through.
Through February.
Well, As of the date of the meeting.
Yes, but we
To
need to.
whatever that is to
It's
April.
It's actually as of the date that we close the warrant, because I can't insert different, well, that's not true, because it's the motion.
I just wanted to make sure everybody was aware that we're gonna have to,
You're gonna need
as you end the project, you're.
We had a few.
Never
What's
come,
been a
never
portion
come
of
out
it.
even.
Yeah. They're never 100%, yeah, contrary to
No, and
previous opinion.
we had some speed bumps along the way too.
Mhm.
He isn't here anymore.
So speaking of veterans, and that 56 definitive subdivision plan over there called Hidden Ranch, Hidden Valley Ranch.
Gonna make salad dressing over there.
I did have just a general friendly conversation with John Churchill about what he is kind of expecting down the road there,
Mhm.
which was not bad. And that's all I'll say.
Don't hold your breath.
I see no reason for him to be saying anything different than what he truly intends. So I'm not as worried about that as I once was, I guess I would say. We'll see.
All right, what else we got?
So budget. You wanna go down the whole thing one more time? So anything under FY '25 proposed that is a red number, that's a red number that's been altered from the previous year. Anything black is stayed the same. Made the changes that we discussed at the last meeting, which is to clarify payment for the superintendent in this proposed budget. Up the legal back up to 75,000 from the 50 I was trying to reduce it to. I updated the 2% on Medicare today. And the 4 orange numbers under Wendy's portion are yet to be put in, so.
The insurances.
Yeah, well, liability insurance, I have a 5% increase plugged in, and group insurance, I have a 5% increase plugged in.
I have a
The-
finance committee meeting with Mayflower Municipal on Wednesday, so I'm hoping to get a feel for what that health insurance number's gonna look like, but,
Yeah.
I mean, the last 2 years, they've put at risk some of the money that we have, some of the surplus money that they have. I'm not sure what's gonna happen this year. They were hoping to be able to use that to keep the rates low for 5 consecutive years, but industry, average rate increases are very high, double digits.
And then you have those other 2 numbers there for the water rate interest maturing debt, non-better debt, and the water treatment plant debt payment that have not been updated yet, but will be soon.
And
your
those.
proposed articles down below.
Will those be more or approximately the same, do you know? Slightly down
Slightly less.
because it's going forward, okay.
Let's hope so.
Am I seeing a reduction or just on the proposed?
So right now, the overall budget has a slight reduction, but again, those 4 orange numbers are not set in stone yet. So right now, yeah, if you look over to the far right, the water department budget from last year is almost minus 3%. Wendy's budget is 1% up,
Well, once
for an
the tax-
overall
once the tax rate
minus
goes to
6%.
that number, some of those numbers we just have to plug it in.
Yeah, so in general, it's a pretty even keel funded proposal.
Do you understand most of that?
Getting there.
Oh, that's good.
Got a couple guys that are retired now,
Make
so
sure you
3%
take that,
off the
make
budget.
sure you take that to bed with you.
I know, gee.
Cuddle right up to it.
Light reading.
So Roy and I tried to
Little fluffer
update the
Right.
capital improvement debt which is all your CIP fees. We updated that spreadsheet to show you what you totally have for debt remaining at the end of this current fiscal year that we're in. And we're gonna share that with you at the next meeting. It's
Coming down much.
it's under 20 million now, which is less than it was. But you still have quite a bit, quite a big.
Well, you could just control them all by itself with most of it.
Yeah, what was the number that we said? I should have brought that
I don't remember.
up. 17,
I wanna say it was like
19.
18 to 19,
Yeah.
somewhere in
It's
there.
somewhere it's still in the high teens, and it doesn't all drop off until 2042,
Yeah, they're doing.
We'll probably be gone
2041.
by then.
Sandy and Ray.
2042.
A couple of them start dropping off in 2029, and then the treatment plant goes all the way out to 2040.
When's Glen Charlie tank go off? That's gonna
It's gonna be coming.
be, what, another 6-7
Yeah, I
years?
forget which one's which.
Like, I think Oak
Something
Street's
comes
coming.
off in 24 and I think 25.
I think,
Or is it
no,
25?
It's probably water main.
I think it was 29 was the first thing dropped off.
Shangri-La's gone now, right? White Island Shores and that,
Yeah, they have to be going.
that's gotta be gone by now.
The better?
Yeah, the loan for the better debt. But that wasn't a CIP fee anyway.
No.
That's right.
Yeah, your CIP.
We'll look at
has
it
been
more next week.
land purchases and a well.
Yeah, I mean, each fee has a group of things that it's covering. No one fee has just one thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, because every time we borrow, we've plugged them into an
Yeah,
existing.
it's like this group, this group, this group. So if you really don't see any changes, and you're fairly content with what we are showing here, except for some of the numbers that we know are still liable to change, if you want to entertain voting on this tonight, as is, with knowing that the numbers that are liable to change may still change,
When do you
in fact,
meet?
will
You
change,
said
but.
The county, for the insurance.
Wednesday.
So why don't we wait till, we coming in before the two-prom, the joint next week?
Well, we're not gonna know, I won't
Oh,
know.
you won't know,
I
all
won't
right.
know, no, it won't be set until February.
Yeah.
But they'll give me I'll have a sense of, between 5 and 7.
Yeah, whether this 5% is
So we
good or
better off waiting,
bad.
just vote. We're all free.
Well, the insurance is, I don't see a big increase on the liability end,
Hmm.
the property end I do.
Oh, yeah.
That's what I'm seeing with all mine. Liability itself is kind of stable, little increase, not huge, but buildings, property,
Huge increases.
big increases.
What percentage?
Probably closer to 10 for that.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, all the way down from your little homeowner to your big buildings, they're all going through the roof.
And your vehicles.
And your vehicles.
It's because of replacement costs.
Man, my people are just working, trying to save what we got and quote what we don't. And I just lost a girl today. Saturday, actually.
What do you mean you lost it?
Passed.
Oh, not just
57.
home.
Jeez.
You used to have Lucy. Remember Lucy?
Oh, back. Right.
No, she was right up front.
No, I used to have the one over the back, commercial.
Oh, yeah, okay, that's right.
That's who I am.
You'd start with commercial. Anyway,
It's too bad.
but the property's the big stuff. But the trucks count as property, they don't count as
Right, correct.
vehicles. So I wouldn't know how that categorizes versus brick and mortar.
I know, I'll reach out to Eric
Yeah.
on this kind of thing.
Well, we're not gonna gain anything if we don't vote on this tonight, right?
I mean, if you want to hold off until the next meeting, you're
We're gonna have a joint meeting next
gonna have a
meeting?
joint meeting, but you typically
But we're gonna
vote
be in
on
here
it
early?
separately.
2 weeks from today,
Yeah.
the Prudential Committee agreed to that Monday.
The 18th.
Hey,
So they
Yeah.
can,
5:30 still, normal start time.
I don't have any problem with it, we can.
I don't have a problem with it. If you guys wanna vote on it tonight, get it out of the way, that's fine with me. If you don't wanna, we'll wait until,
I would vote tonight with, proposed,
Pending adjustment.
yeah. It's not like I'm asking them to do that, I'm looking at any of the other ones and changing, it's just the unknowns that we have.
I got the update for Station Street to cover that in the maintenance of mains. I got the update of the new GIS software, which actually came down from the previous set of roof, but got eye water in here. Got the proposed task orders for Haveling Ward in there that we've previously have discussed. Hopefully the last year of Callahan Consultants, which is still damn well number 9 requirements for monitoring purposes to get that fully permitted. I got a number here, I just doubled to plug into EPG in case they start going through the next 2 steps of the hazard mitigation grant. One being the design and the second being the procurement step. Where they may only get to one of those steps in the course of 1 year, but.
have we gotten a formal acceptance
He
of that?
gave us an email saying you're about to get it, and now we've never gotten it still. It's like, Jesus
I
Christ.
keep looking, but I don't see anything.
No, yeah, I don't, it's like, I don't wanna just be a nag and keep on, okay, where is it? But he pretty much like said, you got it. You shall be receiving a contract soon to sign, and then 2 weeks go by again. Was that 2 weeks ago? How many weeks ago was that David from FEMA sent us that email saying you're gonna have a contract shortly soon
Like
to
3 or 4
sign?
weeks ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was before Thanksgiving.
Who knows?
Want a motion?
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, I make a motion that we accept the FY '25, the superintendent's, excuse me, I make a motion that we accept the water superintendent's FY '25 budget pending some unforeseen or just adjustments. Second adjustments.
Filling in the blanks.
Filling in the blanks. However Jay writes it.
Rick made a motion to accept superintendent's FY 2025 budget, subject to change.
Works for me.
John, you seconded that?
Yeah.
Okay. No, any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
300.
Okay.
Okay?
Good job. Okay, so everybody knows we're having a joint meeting on the 18th, and then the following one is after New Year's, the Monday, the 8th. Everyone okay with the 8th?
I just have one thing, Jay, I got this from John Foster today, if you sign these before, it's a waiver of service, so it's, you're not waiving any,
That may be coming with an ice pack.
You're waiving
An ice pack?
notice,
Surgery or something?
waiving having
Getting
to
left
serve
in the
us when there's a.
Did the right
thing
last year.
foreclosure.
When?
Okay.
I'm doing it on the
Oh,
27th.
you do this every year.
Yeah,
Tell me
well,
about-
yes,
yeah,
when they,
the
it's
assignments.
it's 187 Blackhawk Pond Road.
Going
Is
away.
there a
and-
good time ever?
Going away.
So
in
there's an
April.
assessment order on
Yeah.
there.
Wind water.
I wanna- yeah.
Wind, AC,
I don't blame
AC,
you.
wind,
It's
G.
wind
So
water.
we're interested party in the case.
And I wanna play golf
Just-
this year, because I didn't get it
They
last
don't
year.
have to.
They keep
serve
the stuff
The year
us.
before.
Been out there playing golf today. This 60 degrees
The year
outside.
after that, and now I have this one. It's 2 years in a row, I haven't been able to play.
They're all separate.
So what are they, they're just going into scope?
They're in
Well,
the,
the meniscus, they go in there and they scope and they trim it.
was that
They
downtown?
don't
or-
repair it or take it out, they just trim up
It's not,
what's
it's not
torn.
fluid
Oh,
building
same-
up or
same,
Although it is swollen.
and
No,
Webb.
no, the other 140.
you know.
get even more swollen easily.
With
right?
activity.
Yeah.
140 is how you get it with
When I
it.
went to, when I played
Same
We went to a wedding in Vermont a month ago or so, and we played,
Oh.
I played golf.
That's the first one, that's the first
One
one.
of them was
No, the
Chuck.
first one's happening.
Mike, the guy I drove in the car was Chuck Lorenzo.
Immediate
Chuck
one.
used to own a little Harbor golf course.
Yeah,
He can't golf.
because of needs?
Because he's awful.
Oh.
Sounds like me.
Oh, so he's good to play with.
So, you're in a mountain
Still
course,
snowing up north?
and I figured I could drive right up to my ball with the car, right? He was all over the place, here, there, and everywhere, and I ended up walking towards my ball, and trying, going down to it.
We're supposed to get
I
snow
couldn't walk the
Wednesday,
next
maybe?
day.
Yeah.
So just
Yeah.
walking
Just a dusting?
irritates it enough.
It does.
But
Must
to
be
blow it
something
up.
coming
Yeah,
in
so
early,
it's,
not lasting.
Balls are telling me, oh, ride a bike.
As a stall.
That motion's okay,
Yeah,
but any twist,
it's the pound.
Johnny will tell you, then,
pounding.
So I'm on baby.
Johnny's gonna tell me to get out of Wareham. See his dog.
You'll hear it when they do. We haven't
It's
yet.
due in
Oh,
10 days.
Did you
What's that?
adjourn? You adjourn all?
Yeah, I guess so, John did.
Tom's got
I say-
We're adjourned?
Okay, I guess we are.
So I have a backpack.